Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I understand that post-lunch sessions can be quite sleep-inducing, so I will keep my presentation very brief. At the outset, I am honored to be part of such an august panel. In my presentation, I would like to focus on what Uber is doing in the smart mobility space. As you are aware, Uber is a technology company which is aggregating transportation services across the world. So I'd like to start by how did this idea originate? And much like any revolutionary idea, the idea of Uber came from a realization of a problem. The transportation system across the world was broken, and the co-founders, Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, on a snowy evening back in 2008 in Paris, they had trouble booking a car. And hence they came up with an idea that what if you could press a button on your phone and get a car at your doorsteps within 5 minutes? A year later, Uber launched as a black cab service. But we moved on to other value products because we realized that there's a lot of scope for improving the transportation system. In 2013, we launched in India with Bangalore being our first city. And since then, we have seen stupendous growth across the world. Currently, we are in over 400 cities across 70 countries. And if you see the growth in India, this graph actually shows you the weekly growth in cities like San Francisco and New York City. And then you see how quickly we have grown in Bangalore. The rate of demand, the spike in demand in Bangalore has been so high. And the main reason for this is that the transportation system in India, the public transportation system in India is broken. It is overstressed. It is not well equipped to address the sort of challenges, the sort of demand that is being fed into the cities on a daily basis. And you need smart solutions to meet that level of demand. So in a span of 3 years, Uber has grown into 27 cities across India and continues to mark stupendous growth in all these cities. And within these 3 years, and this is an international experience also, we have realized that there are 5 factors. Smart mobility does not simply mean harnessing the power of technology to get one person from point A to point B. Smart mobility also means how you're impacting other avenues, other aspects of your lifestyle. And that is where we believe that there are 5 basic points where Uber has been able to make a direct impact on our cities. The very first is on complementing public transit. If we look at the data in Delhi, about 14.7% of trips start or end within 200 meters of a metro station. When we move to more developed public transport systems, such as the one in Singapore or in Paris, we see a spike in this number. In Singapore, 30% of Uber trips start or end within 200 meters of a metro station. And in Paris, this is at 65%. And this is the reason why, in a recent report by the American Public Transport Association, it was concluded that the more people use ride-sharing services like Uber, the more likely they are to use public transport. So we are a direct and a complementary solution to public transport wherever we are operating currently. The second impact that we're having across the world and in India is on cutting down congestion and pollution. And I would like to share some data points with you to put this in perspective about what the gravity of the problem we are dealing with when it comes to congestion in our cities. In Bangalore, about 1,600 new vehicles are added every day. And if you look at the average speed in Bangalore, it has come down to 9 kilometers per hour. When we look at Delhi, the average commute time in Delhi during peak hours is 90 minutes, which means 17 days in a year. 1,493 new vehicles are being added in Delhi every day, and the vehicular density is at 80 vehicles per kilometer. And the average speed right now is 16 kilometers per hour. It falls down to 10 kilometers per hour during peak hours. And many scientists have also concluded that in the next 5 years, if there is no concrete action on this front, this may very well fall to 5 kilometers per hour. And all of this congestion is resulting in huge economic loss. A study by IIM Calcutta revealed that the economic loss is at rupees 60,000 crore per annum to India because of congestion-related delays. In Bangalore, this is at 22,000 crore per annum, and which is also forcing a lot of IT companies based out of Bangalore to reconsider their bases in Bangalore. And obviously, there's a great deal of stress attached with any sort of traffic congestion, parking hassles. And what we are seeing is that every vehicle on the road, the capacity utilization, a vehicle which can take 5 people, is actually taking 1 or 2 people at max. And that is the biggest problem that we're seeing in our cities. And this is the scenario with just 5% car ownership and an asset which is unutilized for 96% of its life. So there is a real problem over here. But there is also a solution. If we harness the power of technology, there is a real solution that can change the course of how our cities are suffering right now. And this is the reason why we came out with ride-sharing services like Uber Pool. And as Sir had mentioned, we were having a discussion with Sir earlier, that it's a very, very simple concept. It is not a new concept. Carpooling as a concept is not new. But what we are doing is we are marrying an old concept with technology to deliver real impact on cities. And what essentially carpooling service is doing is it is using existing assets in a better manner, converting existing assets into shared assets to reduce the congestion, the pollution levels in our city. And this has had a significant impact already in India. Uber Pool has been operational in Bangalore and Delhi for the past 6 months. And we've seen that within these 6 months, we have managed to reduce about 798 metric tons of CO2 emissions across these 2 cities. And over 300,000 liters of fuel have been saved because more and more people are using carpooling services. And the experience in cities like Los Angeles has been even more heartening, because what we have seen is that we've been able to use private vehicles for sharing. And in a span of 8 months in Los Angeles, we were able to reduce CO2 emissions by about 1,400 metric tons. There's another real impact that this service is making in India currently, and that is on the aspect of creating micro-entrepreneurs across the country. In the span of 3 years, Uber has created over 350,000 micro-entrepreneurs across India. And this is only because we have been able to reduce the barriers to entry that existed in the traditional transport space, while providing a better income opportunities to the people who onboard as driver partners on the Uber platform. And as such, we have entered into many such collaborative exercises with various state governments to create more and more such entrepreneurship opportunities across India. Another real impact that we've seen across the world generally is that how Uber has been able to reduce drunk driving. And there is data to suggest that wherever Uber has entered into a city, the vehicular fatalities on account of drunk driving have reduced. In fact, there's a study done by Stonehill College back in about 3 months back, where they studied data of about 150 cities. And in these 150 cities, they saw that as soon as Uber has entered these 150 cities, there's been a drop of 16.6% in vehicular fatalities on account of drunk driving in these cities. So there's a real impact that, and what we see is that the closing time at nightclubs or late night restaurants is Uber's rush hour. That's when the demand for Uber spikes. So more and more people are shunning the idea of driving after having a few drinks and taking an Uber instead, which is also very, very critical from a road safety perspective. And the very last thing, but one of the most important things, is that the traditional transportation space used to be, there wasn't much in terms of safety experience that was offered in the traditional transportation space. But because of technology, we have been able to bring a great deal of transparency and accountability in this whole system. And really, the safety experience in an Uber ride starts before the ride even starts. Behind the screens, before a driver is onboarded, the driver is made to go through a police verification process, a background check, and then he's onboarded. When you book a ride, you get details of the driver on your app, which includes the photo of the driver, the number of the car, and the car model number. You're able to track that ride in real time, from where it is and how much time it will take to reach your destination. During the ride, you have the option of sharing your destination details with 5 family members who can track your ride in real time. At the same time, what we have done is there's an in-app SOS button. You press that button, we have a 24/7 incident response team which is notified, the police is notified, and your emergency contacts are notified. As soon as you press that button, within 30 seconds to 1 minute, someone from the incident response team gets in contact with you. If the situation is of a grave nature, the police is immediately contacted. And in some cities like Pune and in Calcutta, what we have done is we have set up PCR rooms within some police stations where the traffic officials can track all the Uber rides in real time. And as soon as this button is pressed, a trigger goes onto that screen so that the police can track that ride in real time. So, and after the ride is done, we follow a system of feedback rating, which we've seen has been very, very effective in controlling the behavior of riders and drivers alike. Because a better rating for a driver results in more incentives, results in more trips, and a better rating for a rider results in, yes, and a better rating for a rider results in more less time delays in getting a ride. So these are the 5 main points through which Uber has been able to provide smart mobility solutions across India, and we hope to work with various state government and the central government to offer more innovative products to the Indian market. Thank you.